everybody's happy, you know?
Yeah, everyone's happy right now, except for apparently the Democrats are targeting buy, borrow, and die. That's a new tax plan. Buy, borrow, and die. So who's going to pay that bill? Your
Grandchildren,
kids, grandkids, no one? We're just going to write it off?
great grandkids.
No, that's a new one there for me. All right. Good morning, everyone. Dan here with tradingology.com in the trading room for October 26th, 2021. Get the doors opened up. As usual, we do have Dave joining us from Strong Market. Good to see you, Dave. Happy Tuesday.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Right. I don't know if this is, maybe I should just say, does this look normal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of green bars on the Dow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly normal. Yeah.
That's a normal functioning market, right?
Oh yeah.
And then we got the S&P over here, had one little tiny red candlestick in it, but other than that, it's been identical. Look down here at the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, let me pull this one over too. This will put a little more in.
Is that making a new high today?
It already did.
Aha.
Look at that, because it was nowhere near it yesterday, or coming. It was like it was trailing, right? Because the Dow was hitting it, then the SPX hit it, and it was like, oh, it's going to take a while for the NDX. No, NDX said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
And we got there 15,710. So it's just off the highs even still right now. So yeah, we got triple highs. Good morning, Greg. Good to see you, man. It's been a little while. We got Greg joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Very nice.
Tom did say that he was going to be busy in a conference, so I'm supposed to give you a hard time because of his sanctions. Because what he's been doing recently. So we won't even talk about Tom right now. So Tom, catch the recording. We'll see you in the Slack channels, Tom. But yeah, just looking at these, the three in a row, it was attempting to make it. Putting that all back together, we definitely see the NDX 2 back-to-back days of multiple.
Yeah, big moves there.
It's a good way to put it, right after the other one. So it had a couple pullbacks, but then it's off to the races and it's got there. The Russell is the fourth one that has not made an all-time high yet. We'll see how long that one takes.
Yeah, that's lagging a little bit here, but it's not far behind.
So that's kind of the story of the moment right now, is all-time highs in the markets everywhere. Of course, they're claiming that it's, amid strong earnings reports coming out. I did see new home sales put up a green number by almost 100,000. So 800,000 new home sales. That might be fueling part of the market sentiment at the moment. Outside of that,
everybody's happy.
Yeah, everyone's happy right now, except for apparently the Democrats are targeting buy, borrow, and die. That's a new tax plan. Buy, borrow, and die. So who's going to pay that bill? Your kids, grandkids, no one? We're just going to write it off?
Great grandkids.
No, that's a new one there for me. Tesla's getting huge bumps because I saw yesterday, who was it? The rental car company Hertz is claiming they're going to buy like 100,000 EVs. So that gave Tesla and Hertz a big jump, if I remember right. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. There was a ESG, which is the energy kind of buzz letters acronym for the for the energy plays and alternative energy. And there was a big conference over in Europe, and but they were having trouble. There was only one station to plug in your Tesla. So if you had an EV and you wanted to bring it to the conference, there was only one place to do it. And so guess what you're talking about probably some of the wealthiest companies and CEOs in the European Union. Guess what their solution was?
Extension cord.
Yeah, with multiple. No.
Right.
Yeah, their solution was to bring over diesel generators.
Oh, wow.
That can power their electric cars.
Wow.
And so they brought in thousands of diesel. Now they got to get diesel fuel. So how is this ESG, right? How is this alternative energy?
That's an interesting sight to see. They're plugging in with a bunch of generators running in the background.
Yeah, you got 1,000 generators lined up with the diesel fuel running and charging their Teslas.
Nice. I did see here, I just happened to glance. Americans are buying Teslas, not EVs, huh? But experts say that's about to change. So how do you buy a Tesla but not an EV?
Well, I think they're just buying the name Tesla so they can brag that they have a Tesla. They don't necessarily want Ford's EV, for example, because there's no bragging rights there. So,
Gotcha.
hey, I own a Tesla.
Right. They freak me out every time they go down the neighborhood because like all I hear is the tires.
Yeah.
They need to make noise.
I think there is a switch in them where you can like turn it on and make it sound like a real car.
What's Greg got?
Greg's got and I used real car on purpose.
Right.
Because it's more like I don't know, what is it? A train set, battery powered train set or something.
Right. Exactly. Greg's got a good point here too. They keep talking about pushing the electric ones. And they can't even agree on just a universal charger, just like your phones, right? Either have an iPhone or a Samsung. They can't use the same charger because, God forbid they use something common. But yeah, it sounds like they got the same thing there where Tesla's got theirs, the Japanese have their own, Europeans have theirs. And then obviously, the chip shortage is hitting everything with that too, especially I can't even imagine the amount of chips that they put into an EV, let alone just the standard vehicles right now. Everyone's ordering less equipped vehicles so they can get them off the line right now. I know a lot of the guys that were waiting for different trucks for hauling campers and stuff where, the mid-grade and the top of the lines take 10 times the amount of chips. So the manufacturers can't produce them right now. So a lot of people are dropping their lines. They're buying more of the base models because they have less chips. So that's also feeding the fuel into the EVs, I'm sure. And then just building charging stations as well. So yeah, it's all feeding together, I would say.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Greg. Back in the day when we still had when we wanted to rent a video at Blockbuster or something, we had VHS, right? But beta was actually cassettes were vying for market share with VHS. And beta, I think, it came out with, I think it was Sony that developed the technology. But there was a real battle going on to see which one would dominate the marketplace, and VHS eventually won out. Well, just think about all the people who bought those beta players and the beta tapes and stuff like that. I mean, they were basically out of luck. Nobody supported them anymore. So I think probably the same thing is going to happen in the charging world.
And the same thing happened with CDs. I went to the compact disc from cassettes, and then they came out with laser discs. And it's like, that didn't work either.
Yeah, laser discs.
So everybody that bought laser was out.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's trying to log me out. There we go.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of technologies, when they're really, really early like that, you don't know which one's going to be the winner. And so sometimes it pays to be a little bit early on stuff, but most of the time it does not.
Yeah, you're definitely taking more of a chance or a risk when it's just like trying to be the first person to short the market. That's more money is lost in the shorts than people that actually drop it, that actually make money on the short. So that's one thing that I know you like selling short. It's all about that timing, right? So that's why we teach when to get in and when to get out.
Absolutely. I still short on markets that are going up. Like today, I can find shorting opportunities, but they just don't last very long. They're a lot shorter time periods. But if you have a market that's going down and you short it, you can stay in a little bit longer and make pretty big profits. But last Friday, I was in a short position, did really, really well because I was able to time it with, a short-term downtrend. It only lasted a few minutes, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's still short, but it's trickier because you're in a very, very short period of time. So we got big separation there. It looks like on the NDX. Holy cow!
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was watching, I just pulled over the internals here. Talking about, hey, markets are all happy. And, well, this first opening bar doesn't look so happy from an internals perspective to me. So I don't know how long this rally is going to last today. We'll see. They've turned it back on and it's going up right now. But yeah, the separation you're talking about here. I mean, look at what the internals were doing yesterday with volume. I haven't seen this ever, if not been a long time. Just the size of these bars as it was going up and it was just dropping down.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual.
I mean, you look at the NYSE, normally it's these tiny little bars.
Right.
Volume's just trickling in. The specialists are controlling it as they release the orders.
Right.
These are just all over the place.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual. That's odd.
And then it just kind of like flipped it off. Then it was normal for a little bit. Then it got big again. So I think they're throwing some big switches back and forth. This is pretty crazy. This gets me worried seeing stuff like this. And when you compare that with the separation of yesterday, so there's how that chart.
Yeah, that's big too. Wow. That's a pretty big separation, which means that in that case, you don't have much volume going in all those issues that are higher.
Greg's got a good question. I think you emailed me, so I'm sorry if I didn't get back to you right away, but he's looking at the ones on the right here and the dots. So if you want to get the dots instead of the lines for the MTXL internals, I'll pop it open here. What I think you have to do is the default setup doesn't have the dots configured. So if you go into the settings here you can just change them right here under the draw as, and it's the UDNAV is the gray. So the top one right here right now. And then the green one is the second one, the DDNAI. So change those to the dots. Then you'll get that line, or excuse me, then you get the dots instead of the line. The other three are still lines. You're welcome. Happy to help. And if anybody catching the recording is curious, that's part of the complete market timer system for the indicators that Dave and his strong market team put together that we still leverage today. They are the flying instruments to the market. So MTXL, that is not a toss indicator. So if you're looking for that, email the crew over at support@strongmarket.com and they will hook you up with whatever you're looking for from an indicator perspective. So we'll get back to live here.
Yeah, interesting little chart that I received from our friends over at the market here today. Realized volatility is it's below its 10th percentile. It's the lowest level in realized volatility since 1970.
Wow.
1970. Do you know what happened between 1970 and 1973?
Well, I know we were at war.
And it was one of the biggest stock market declines in like history. We had a recession and the stock market went down. I mean, probably one of the biggest declines in the history of the stock market. It was down close to 50-60%.
Wow. Nobody talks about it now. It's interesting you mentioned that too, because I'd be curious, what type of volatility did they call that? Realized volatility?
Realized volatility.
Okay. I have to do some more research on that.
Yeah. So look up realized volatility, but basically it's how much volatility is actually in the market based on when you take out the VIX. So you take out the VIX and you look at the what they call realized volatility.
Okay. And speaking of the VIX, it's at a very key point right now. It's right at that 15, just above it. It's slightly green, actually. So interesting. Markets are all happy today, but the VIX is going up tiny bit, obviously, but it's still elevating. So is that going to lead to a downturn later? We will see. That's a very long line back to 15 where it has not broken down below that since, I'm going to guess, pre-pandemic. Yeah, look at that. 218.20 was the last time it was below that when we shot up in February of 20.
Wow.
That's when that took off. So are we going to get another one of those? We'll see. Or is there going to be an event that causes it? Well, at the same time, our warning bells are going off over here. The SPY VIX is literally at a 30 right now. So these two are fueling that. Obviously, all-time high on the SPY, not an all-time low on the VIX, but it's the lowest since it has not closed below. This looks like a dip below it a little bit a few months ago, back in June, but it never closed below it. And this is a daily chart.
Now, if you go over to the SPX there on the trading view chart, measure from the beginning of the year till now, what is the percentage gain on it so far this year? It's got to be, I think it's probably one of the largest in history.
Yeah, holy cow.
Yeah, if we go back to January 1st or whatever that first week of January was.
We'll start 4th, 3rd. There we go.
Yep, that would be the beginning.
25%.
Yeah, I think that's one of the largest gains in history on a year-to-date basis. Now, you got to think, boy, if we're up that much. And we're not done with the year yet. We still have another probably, I'm going to guess about 43, maybe 42 days of trading left with the holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah, just under 2 months for sure.
Yeah.
Take out the weekends and all that.
Yeah, if we continue to go higher from here, we're up over 30%. It's probably going to be the largest gain in the stock market in history. It'd be interesting to see what happens after those large gains are made.
Yeah, look at just the monthly. Look at it just completely.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And that's even with, or no, excuse me, that's 2020. There's 21 starts there. Yep. Okay. Yeah, how you just can't. That's another view of these. You know, the more views you look at, it's just befuddling when you look at what normal months are back in, you know, the mid-teens when there was actual production happening, and then more financial fixing, and just ridiculous after last year how it can just be taken off like that. It just blows me away. It makes me wonder, you know, we're sitting here in this time. When's it going to be like, do you remember when we're back down here at like 2,800? We're gonna say, do you remember when we had all-time highs across the board? Remember those days?
Yeah.
How long is that going to take to say, remember when? Look at our friends over here at the Russell. They're lagging, but they might be picking up steam.
Trying to catch up, are they?
Kind of like the NDX. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw all four. Then I liked your comments too last week, because maybe it's going to take all four. Maybe we hit all four, and then it's no more all-time highs for 5 years.
So on an annual basis, the S&P 500 historic annual returns, the largest gain so far in 1 year is 1958 at 38%.
Wow.
There's been a couple of years we've been over 30%, 1975, but that was just prior to a huge downturn. Well, we said 1970. We already mentioned 1970. The year after that, it was down 30%. But the most recent 30% gain was 1995.
Interesting.
And we haven't hit 30% since then on an annual basis.
So I'll be curious to see, are people looking at that? Are they going after that? You know, it almost feels like I'm making a joke that they're saying they're going after it, because it's not even about company fundamentals anymore and company performance. It's
no, it has nothing to do with that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to do with that. So we are in the top. It's, you know, out of maybe you know, all of the years since the early 1950s. So I think this chart I'm looking at started in 1957. We've only been above 30% three times.
Wow.
So if we end up over 30% this year, it'll be 4 times. And after that, though, the market declines significantly the next year.
So we will absolutely keep watching that. And people are thinking about crypto. Crypto's down for the day, not much. I've noticed a lot of wicks over on the XRP charts. That's kind of an interesting just thing to notice. You know, smaller bodies, bigger wicks. What that means, I'm not trying to say anything. Just interesting fact to see there.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Ethereum's kind of peaked out and hanging out right around the 4,000 level. Bitcoin made a run for 70, back down to around 62, give or take right now. You know, it's not mirroring this markets this week, or at least today, where it's been rising when the normal market's been rising. So keep an eye on that. I don't know if you've been watching too. Take a look at our USCI index. Remember that channel we had?
Oh, yeah.
Look at where it is now. So we're going up to these next target levels. It's broken out of this channel. So commodities are continuing to rise. It hasn't done that major pullback. So some of our long-term trades are looking nice there. We haven't had a chance to back the truck up to add on to it, because we're looking for it maybe around this lower channel. But that's when I'm always keeping an eye on that USCI. Well,
you know, Janet Yellen came out yesterday and said, and reiterated the statement that the inflation is transitory. So
yeah, she's saying it now.
Nothing to worry about.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Move on. Yeah, that's what she said.
While gas is breaking, I heard $5. It's over $5 in California. So sorry for you guys living in California that are paying that.
Wow.
You go to fast food, it's $10 a person. Not that you should eat fast food a lot, but it's just what, it's what the general public does, paying gas and buying food. That stuff's costing more money. You can't say it's transitory forever. Sorry. I'm looking at my W here too. We're tracking about the middle. It's not coming down. It's just kind of going across. We'll see what the Dixie does here.
It also has a little bit of a rounded bottom there. So yeah, if you draw a little rounded bottom, that could be rounded bottoms can work pretty well. I've seen those happen, especially in a market that's down, or if you're looking at a topping market, you'll see a rounded pattern as well on the top. So we'll see.
Yep. Keep an eye on them. Let's see. Anybody?
I don't know if you heard this. This kind of came across my radar this morning. Is that I don't know if you were aware of it or not, but I mean, neither one of us live in Australia, but for those people who do, there's a new law in the state of New South Wales, started October 11th, 2021, that it applies to anyone over 16 who is not fully vaccinated. There's on-the-spot fines of $1,000 for individuals and $5,000 for businesses that apply for non-compliance on a number of different, let's call them violations. Visiting friends. If you're not fully vaccinated, you can't visit another person's home.
$1,000.
$1,000. Visiting places of worship, if you're not fully vaccinated, you can't attend. Retail stores, if you're not vaccinated, you can't go to retail stores unless it's essential, like a supermarket or a hardware store. Hairdressers, can't go to hairdressers. Can't go to weddings and funerals. Can't go to hospitalities, or you can't go to cafes or restaurants or food courts or kiosks unless you're fully vaccinated. You can't travel in a car unless it's members of your own family. You can't go on holiday. You can't go for regional visits to resorts. Sports and exercise. You can't participate in group outdoor sports unless you're fully vaccinated. So those adult soccer leagues, baseball, cricket, whatever they have in Australia,
right?
Forget about it. Outdoor gatherings, only up to 30 people for vaccinated people. If you're unvaccinated, forget it. Zoos, aquariums, sports stadiums are out of ground. You just can't do it. So they've got a whole list of places here, and you get fined $1,000.
Have we heard if there's anyone actually enforcing that yet? Or that's a brand new thing that just came out? As you said, October 21, right? So it's new.
No, well, it was enacted, and evidently it's supposed to be enforceable as of October 11th. I have not heard of, but although I have seen some videos, there's one guy who reports on economic conditions over in Australia, and I think Stephen Van Meter has interviewed him a couple of times, and he's been interviewed by this guy. I can't remember. I think it's called Round the World or something like that.
Okay.
On YouTube, and he reports on Australian stuff. He might have some insights on that, but I'll
be curious to see how they follow up with that or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw one video where this guy was being kind of like held and pinned down to the ground by a couple of police officers. You don't know what the story is, though, right? I mean, right. You don't know. You have no idea that the headline was he wasn't vaccinated and he was in a public gathering place. But who knows? I mean, he could have been wanted for some heinous crime. But, I mean, if it's true, you're talking about fascism.
Yeah, to the extreme.
Yeah.
That's talk about flipping switches one way or the other. That's going super crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and other good news.
Another good news, Biden wants everybody vaccinated by December 5th.
Oh, but I saw a headline yesterday that they want him to wait until after the holidays so people can have a Merry Christmas.
Do you think he'll do it?
That's a good question, actually.
Grinch? Is he the Grinch?
Yeah, does he want to be seen as it? I don't know if I can still find that one or not. That was on yesterday's.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think some people were complaining, come on, just give us to the end of the year.
Yep.
Let everybody have a happy holiday. I don't know if he'll do it though.
Well, even if it's just a talking point where it's possible, how is it about health then? Tell me that. If it's, literally if it's about people living or dying, why would there be a decision of, can we wait until before or after the holidays? That's just another reason that points to it's not about health. I'm with George Gammon on this one, George. I'm with you. It's not about health. It's about control.
Yeah, sure is looking that way.
They just keep talking about, Greg says exactly. Amen, brother. I could have swore that was there. Oh, I'll end you with this one. I don't know if you caught it. It was on, I don't know if it was on Netflix or what it was on, or it was just on regular cable TV. They came out with a movie about GameStop. Already.
Oh, really?
It was actually pretty good. I just caught it. I set it to record and I watched it the other day. You should go and check it out. I'll find the title for it and I'll send it to you. It was interesting to watch. They had some actual retail traders in there. They talked to that guy that was doing the YouTube channels with the headband and appearing and all that stuff. So it's an interesting another movie all around GameStop and just what went down there.
Yeah, send me that. That sounds interesting. That would be good.
It's worth a watch. It's kind of like watching, because they talked about the guy from The Big Short too, where this one's basically talking about being the big squeeze at the end of the day. So I'll send you the name of that one. You have to check it out. You too, Greg. Check that out for sure if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that, I will say we've been talking about a bunch of stuff coming. Let me just say, Greg, I think you're on Facebook too. What we're doing here shortly is that we've been gearing up we're to build some Tradingology Facebook groups as another way for you guys to interact with each other. So look for those launching very soon. Then we're going to start to run the trading rooms. It might pare down to once a week, but we'll do them as some Facebook Lives and we'll broadcast them out. So look for that coming really soon. Greg, I think you're in there, so you'll probably see it right away. So I'll send out invites. Anybody that wants to join those groups, we'll have a little, we'll start to create some Facebook community groups. And I will get you guys being able to talk to each other and we'll be able to apply some information and provide more of a community. That's what I just want to do. The more and more I'm doing this, I absolutely loved helping the guys in the high level mentoring. So we are going to do more of that. But the more I can help the community, the better. So I want to make this community better and build a Tradingology trading community. So that's what we're going to do. So look for that coming shortly.
Nice.
I love it. And with that, we'll probably sign off until Thursday, or if we start going live, I got to do some testing. I know I'm a tech person, but it's still got things I got to figure out and work out the kinks. So bear with me in the early stages if I fall down and it doesn't work, and if technology bites me in the butt. But we'll make it work eventually. No worries.
Sounds good. All right, guys, have a great day. We will see you on Thursday. Dan, Greg, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.